Hello and welcome back to the Let's Go Joe podcast. Today I have a very special guest, my young boy. His name is Lamar Mason. He came here today to come talk to me. And believe it or not, I'm gonna start this off with something funny, a funny story before I get him to introduce himself. So I've known Mr. Mar since I was, I'm gonna just say about 13, 14. And when we went to college, I came home, I cut my hair. Mar had cornrows from his freshman year in high school all the way up to like 3 years ago. So I like to see that my boy finally cut his hair. It looks good, Mar. You look good, man. Look healthy. Got your hair cut. You know I was going to bring that up. But all jokes aside, I'm happy to have my boy here, my boy Mar here. I'm going to tell a story. You're going to tell matter of fact, introduce yourself, Mar.
Man, I appreciate that, man, a lot, man. Like you said, I mean, I've known y'all for some time, man. You know, you and Charlie, and it's always been a pleasure. You know what I mean? Through high school, all them years, man. But yeah, you know, I don't want to sound like that, but it's Lamar Mason. You know, I train now, and I was once a former player. And I mean that's about it. You know, I run Check Rock League, founder of that, and I work with a lot of kids in state and out of state. You know.
Well, let's start with your upbringing because I believe your upbringing is usually what makes you become the person you are. So let's start with your upbringing. Tell me a little bit about your childhood journey that makes you the giving back person you are, that likes to see kids thrive and succeed.
Well, I feel that's good because I kind of like touch on that a lot, but you know where I was raised at north side of Wilmington, and a lot of stuff was, you know, just like in a lot of cities, but it's crime. You know what I mean? It's crime, but one thing for sure, outlet of ours is sports. Mm-hmm. You know, it's and basketball was kind of like my outlet. You know, it was my outlet. Everybody in the neighborhood played, so of course, like once your friends are playing, you want to play too. It wasn't until I want to say until I always played basketball, like, you know, freshman and sophomore year, took it kind of serious, but my junior year I really took it serious. You know what I mean? Going into a junior year at Howard, I really took it serious. But one thing that the teachers always said to me, man, I was like, why your grades can't be like, you know, can't be like this. And you know, second half of the season, man, I was falling off, and I try to like stay on kids about that to this day, man. You definitely gotta be a student athlete. It's one thing I always cared about basketball and everything, but the grades had to be right. So, you know, basketball was just my outlet, and it was an outlet away from, you know, life, you know, that was going on.
So and I'm just thinking, like, because you touched on grades, and clearly my grades that's a whole nother conversation for another time. My grades were terrible. But when you say student athlete, when you say you emphasize it, because I emphasize it too, right? I just emphasize it a little different because I actually don't like school, but I understand the benefits of it. Does that make sense?
Most definitely.
So like now when I articulate it to people, I say, look, man, I hated school. I hate school, but I still managed to graduate from Howard University. Right. So I'm saying that to say this: when you say a student athlete, do you think it was because your willingness? I know you don't think you were dumb, but do you think it was your willingness? Like, did you not see I said willingness. Did you not see the big picture? So did you not be like, okay, I can do something with this, or did you just be like, I'm having fun, so I'm not really necessarily worried about getting my work done?
I definitely follow you. I feel like it was more of me, just like I was just having fun. You know what I mean? I was just having fun, but at the same time, I didn't have someone constantly reminding me what school could actually do for me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just worried about playing a sport, but I couldn't play that sport without them grades, or even just having the average grades. You couldn't play the sport, and my grades would be so much better second half, and that's why my teachers would remind me, you know, like I gotta shout her out, man, because she's dear to all of us, but Miss Hayes.
Yeah, I know.
You
Miss
know,
Hayes.
like,
Only one that gave me a D, Miss Hayes. She keeps telling me I earned it. No, you gave me a D, Miss Hayes.
But she used to be like one of the ones that always like spoke to me like, "You're not dumb. Like you passed this and passed this. Why you can't just do this the first half and make sure you get by, you know, and then continue on?" But that wasn't my mindset at the time, you know, and I didn't actually. I was just, you know, people from my neighborhood. Some people wasn't even graduating high school. You know what I mean? They wasn't even graduating high school. So, you know, I didn't say I didn't want to graduate high school, and of course I finished. But it was, I don't know, like I just couldn't like really get to the point where I was just like I actually cared about grades. At that time, I just cared about ball.
So you played high school basketball, clearly, I know that.
Yeah.
What about college? Did you try anything after high school?
So I took a year off. I had to go to Del Tech, of course, because my grades was terrible. My grades got better at Del Tech. I didn't play at Del Tech. I was only there to take classes. A former coach that coached me at Howard, Darren Kellum, Ghost, got me into Salem Community. Yeah, Salem Community College. And from there, I really became like a gym rat. Really became like real committed to like really just playing, because I definitely wanted to exceed and I wanted to go further within the sport. And yeah, from there I was doing good, man. I was one like top 15 in the country in scoring. And our team was, we could have been good, but we had so many players get kicked off the team, and I started getting recruited again, man, and it was kind of up from there. I seen like the potential and the level where I could play at. And I had my son, which is a blessing. I had my son in 2008. And that's kind of like where it stopped. I didn't have like the best support system at that time, which I don't blame anyone for that. Of course, everything is a blessing, but that's kind of where my career stopped, because I had to. I was always going to choose like family over that, you know. But that's why, getting back to doing what I love, that's why I do what I do today. You know, to let kids here, especially in Delaware, know that. You got purpose, and you definitely can play at any type level if you apply your mind to it.
I'm glad you said that, because so before we get to Check Rock, you said something that I definitely agree with. But I think now it's differently. But when we were coming up in high school, I don't think Delaware athletes had the opportunities they do now. So, you know, the world is a lot smaller now due to social media. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, like, you might not feel like this when you were in high school, but I felt like when I was coming out of high school, like, unless you were like really, really top tier, college really wasn't an option. And if it was an option, it was Del Tech, you know, things of that nature. So has that changed since we've been in school? Because I mean, I really don't know. I'm so far away from it that I really have no idea.
Bro, honestly, it's changed extremely. Like you said, social media is a platform for everyone. And these kids, I'm not saying that majority, because it doesn't happen that way, but you have a lot of kids getting recruited off of social media, believe it or not. You know what I mean? It's no secret. You know, it's no secret for real. And then you have, you know, these videos go viral. Coaches actually see them, because you have people in the universities. I mean, that's their job. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's one of their jobs, is social media. You know, and they're reporting back to like recruiters and scouts, and of course they're reporting back to like the head coaching staff or the assistants. And once they get a hold of it, they actually want to see this kid in person. Mm-hmm. So once they see this kid in person, it might be in a region that they don't even recruit. You know, they don't even recruit in. You know, like a lot of West Coast teams aren't going to recruit players over here on the East Coast. You know, so that plays a big part in things. And then once they see them in person, you know, either if they're on like a major circuit or anything with like AAU, then they're offering that kid. they're offering him a scholarship right off the bat, and that only really happened because of social media, you know. And one of the things that a lot of student athletes don't get is it is a major platform for you, you know. So, you know,
if you use it correctly,
exactly,
because it could be a major platform for you to be known as something stupid,
exactly.
But it could be also, you know what I mean,
and
beneficial.
you know what I mean, and that's a whole other conversation. Yeah, but I remind players, you know, like you're a ball player. You know what I mean? That's exactly. That's the stuff that you should be putting up. That's what you should be posting. You know.
Yeah, tell your story. If ball is your thing, that's all you need to be posting. But,
exactly.
I mean, we know. Yep. People are young, kind of dumb.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I didn't have social media when I was younger. Boy, I'd be known for everything except what I want to be known for. So moving on. So when did you start Check Rock?
Started Check Rock. Well, when did the idea come, or when
you can start with when the idea? I remember. I'm gonna just ask you, when did the idea come? 'Cause I remember when the idea came, because we had several conversations. But when did the idea come, and then when did you actually take an idea that you wrote down on paper and actually started making it happen?
I mean, everybody around me at the time, they kind of knew when like the idea came. I want to say probably around 2012, probably like 2012, 2013, 2012. Because I was dragging my feet for some years, and I never actually like executed on the plan, but I had everything written down in my notebook. You know what I mean? I had this laptop at one point, and it kept crashing on me every time I wrote down my notes in it. It would delete everything as soon as I get back up. So that's when I really I plan to start using, you know, composition books. But
I don't see them no more.
Yeah, I know. But
you say that in the kid, like composition.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? No such thing as a composition book.
But I started it. The idea came to me around like 2012, 2013. Of course, basketball has always been an outlet for me, but I always wanted to do something as far as like training in the league and do other stuff like showcases and, you know, stuff that I'm doing today.
Right.
But as well as like the major part as far as like connecting with the kids within the community. And then I thought bigger as far as connecting with kids even outside my community. Because that's what it's about. I always say it's like communities build, you know what I mean, build communities.
Yeah.
Like we're not all from the same community, but we can build together. But like 2014 is like kind of like when 2015, my fault. 2015 is when I finally started it. We started with training, and that was out Hockessin Pal. Had a lot of top players in the state come out, and we was training them real seriously. 2015, that same year, we had a showcase in my home park, which is on 24th and Tatnall over Northside. It's called One Love Park today. And I had a lot of players in the state, like top 24. They all came up, and a lot of them not from there, but they came to the hood, like, you know, if you know, you know. Yeah. Like, but you know, I appreciate them parents, because I'm always going. Them kids are always my first priority, and I'm gonna always keep them safe. You know what I mean? People within my village, they know what I stand for. They know what I'm on, what I do, and they wouldn't have anything happen to them players either.
Did you see it as a need when you first started, or was it like just something that you was like, I think I'm good at this. Let me see what I can do with this. Like, did that make sense? Yeah.
So I take it as far as like another reason why I was dragging my feet on it is because I had a job. It's nothing wrong with a 9-to-5, you know, and I was working doubles, but I was doing it. I'm talking about 12-hour shifts. I was with a company for 4 years. I was fired in 2014, you know, and I felt like I put all my eggs in one basket. This company knew me. They knew my character, and you know, I feel like they just ain't care. You know what I mean? I still had bills to pay. At that time, poor money management. I'm young. You know what I mean? Poor money management.
We all go through it.
I'm just thinking, you know, that we live in paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean? And of course, that's not that's not how we want to live or what we what we want to what we want to do. But at the same time, it was getting me by. It was a lot, bro. It was really a lot. I put all my eggs in one basket. I seen it, and it got me to the point where I was like, once I was fired, I didn't want to work for anybody again.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to do
feeling.
it. Yeah, I didn't want to work for anybody again. And I didn't care if it was going to take me, years. I knew people wasn't going to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew people.
It's not taught neither, though.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you can reach out to. You can reach out to some drug dealers, but you can't reach out to a person that's like, I don't care if I'm struggling.
Right.
I'm happy. I found my purpose.
Most definitely.
So this is what I'm going to do. That makes sense.
Man, yeah, it makes a lot of sense to the point where, of course, shoot, I ended, which I have no problem. Hey, Mom, I'll come stay with you today.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come stay with you today. I won't be on the couch, but I'll come stay with you. But yeah, I ended up back on my mom's couch. You know what I mean? And I was cool with that. I mean, I was home, and I didn't have with me. Anybody knows me. I never had any pride. I don't care what anyone thinks about me.
No.
I never. I always been me. I never tried to be something I wasn't or do anything I didn't want to do with. Even when some of my friends was on something else that I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But people always respected me for always being me, and. It comes with even just building a brand. You know what I mean? It comes with building being really into your craft. Yeah. So a lot of people won't understand, but it's not meant. But once they see it start, flourishing, and how
they get on then.
You know how it goes.
They get on then.
You know how it goes.
So I'm glad you was transparent to talk about that. But speak on that a little bit more. Like, so you went from working a full-time job in 2014. Got fired. Mm-hmm. I always say, like, God has a way of pushing you into your purpose. Yeah. People don't believe me. Some people agree. Some people don't, depending on your spiritual level or just depending on how you think. And some people are like, well, I got fired. I went through this, and this. But I'm like, you're all right, though. Yeah. So what are you complaining about? But you stop working, and it pushes you to your purpose, to Check Rock. Mm-hmm. How long after that, right, did you say to yourself, like, okay, like through trial and error, whatever trial and errors you went through, all right, this is it? Because I'm sure something in your mom was probably like, yo, man, you need to go get you another job. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I was in between jobs as well. But I'm gonna tell you what really gave me a push towards a lot of stuff to tell me to stop BSing for real and really take Check Rock serious. And I had my first showcase, like I said, within the park. And one of my good friends, he was an OG in the neighborhood to all of us. We call him Itchy, Goat. But he was like one of my biggest supporters, man. And he died, So that kind of like, he was always reminding me to like really, my fault, man. I'm kind of getting emotional.
Nah, you good. Do what you gotta do.
But, dang, let me take my time.
Take your time, brother. That's what we're here for.
Damn. I'm supposed to be going through that.
Yeah, you good, brother. I promise you good.
But he used to like remind me of like really like he like, man, Lamar Mason, man, you BSing, you know what I mean? And that kind of got me to really like push towards it, you feel me? So I started it, and I want to say 2016 was my first league. He ain't really get to see it. A lot of my guys got to see it, but I held the first league at Price's Park, man, over Northside, man, inside them gates. And the first season of Check Rock League was amazing.
I agree. I went to a couple games.
Yeah, it was amazing, man. We had T-shirts for the kids. Thank you. I appreciate it. We had T-shirts for the kids, like jerseys. But they enjoyed it. We started off with 12 teams, so 120 kids came out. 120 kids.
I didn't know that.
I only had 2 girls playing in my league. Well, I had more than 2 girls because we was trying to make it like co-ed thing, but that wasn't gonna fly. And it dropped down to 8 teams because the 8 teams was solid. You know what I mean? And it was 80. It turned out to be 80 players, man, and it was good. It was real good. It was competitive, and we had a Philly team come down, and I mean, like, I felt like even just bringing that back, the city coming out, we brought the energy back. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like the energy what I was aiming for. That's what we needed, and from there I always wanted to grow. I just wanted to grow. It couldn't be nothing that could like actually stop the brand. I just knew that I put my last dime into it. You know what I mean? I don't care as long as these kids is happy. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about that. So, because I remember a time, because I remember your first year being a success. I actually made it to a couple of games. As much as I worked and still work, I remember you texting me like, "Yo, check Rock Lee." You told me where the park was, the whole nine.
Yeah.
I showed up. But let's talk about the growth. Like, so I remember you going from a park to, and you can speak on whatever happened that made you go from a park to looking for other areas. But I remember you texting me, because I worked at West End at the time. I don't even know if you remember this, but I worked at West End.
Yeah, for sure.
And you was trying to get in there, and it just because of the time frame, we couldn't get in there.
Yeah.
And I hope you understood, like, I really couldn't get you in there. Because some
I
people
know.
be like, some people be like, "Yo, man, dog, you got that whole gym." I'm like, "Dog, I can't even get in there like that." Like,
Exactly.
if I'm in there, like, I remember I started doing my classes on Saturday mornings, and me and Charlie, we had to be like in and out, cleaned up, from 8 to 10, and people was like, "Dog, like, you can't get me here. We can't do this league." I'm like, "Dog, like, if I could, I would." But let's talk about the growth, like, because I remember your first year in comparison to now, and we'll get to now, but you going from outside to where you're at now. And I don't want to talk about where you're at now, but talk about the growth to getting to that point, because people don't understand resiliency, Mar. People look at things like, all right, well, he just got lucky. I'm like, I know it wasn't luck, but people will be like looking at it like, oh, he just met this person, or this person put him on.
Yeah.
But I know that I got the text messages, I got the calls from where you started to now. So speak on that for anybody that doesn't know.
Yeah, so like season two, we were still having it outside, but we went to like Dale Rec. We was out Dale Rec. I moved it outside the city. Now, mind you, a lot of dumb stuff is happening within the city. I moved it out Dale Rec, because I'm always thinking about the kids. Of course, that's what it's about. I moved it out Dale Rec, which people weren't used to. Dale Rec didn't have lights, so people used to pull up with their cars, and even for the kids, for the late games, to have lights. But the lights, it just wasn't working. We went to Home Depot or Lowe's one time, and got lights, got lights, like the big stand-up lights. I bought them, and that wasn't enough. You know what I mean? To like, it just wasn't nothing really like clicking or working. I was, we then moved it to Green Bank, because Green Bank has like the lights all over and stuff. Moved it to Green Bank on Kirkwood Highway, and it still went good. I mean, it went good. It was still 8 teams, so we could run, we could play them games, and be out there. It was real good competition. Now skipping to season 3. This is kind of like when I was contacting everybody, and my thing was, I didn't want to keep it outside of the city because it wasn't the same energy for me as far as like season 2. Season 3, I knew it just had to get better. I was working with a lot of serious young boys from season 1 to up now to this point, and it was just, I knew it was going to be real good. So I needed to look for other spots for them to, as far as like for their safety and for it to actually be a good league. You know what I mean? Real competitive. Of course, like you said, you was one of my contacts. I was contacting Frames, Boys and Girls Club. I was contacting the PAL, and I mean a lot of people had stuff going on, but they, Browns Boys and Girls Club, another Boys and Girls Club where I grew up at, they was all for it. They was all for it, and we still was having it at Price's season 3.
Mm-hmm.
But like on like the rainy days, like we was going back the rainy days, Browns Boys and Girls Club was like was the backup gym, and they was all for it. So got that, and season 4 I had it all in Browns,
mm-hmm.
which it was staying into like them teams. Season 4 I didn't had Chase Fieldhouse as well,
mm-hmm.
And season I had the playoffs at Chase Fieldhouse at that time. I didn't have like the whole league there, and season 5 was going to be like GOAT season, like the 5th season that has been around, and that's when we was in the Fieldhouse. But season 5 was also COVID,
Mm-hmm.
So COVID, it was so crazy with COVID year, bro. COVID year, we had, if everyone remembers that list vividly, it's a couple NBA players on that list. Right now, and it was going to be a good season. But once again, we got hit with COVID. Nothing we could do about it, to the point where the players could come in, but I couldn't even have spectators.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't have spectators.
And when you say NBA players, so you're saying people that were going to participate in the league, just want to be clear, people that were going to participate in the league now are in the NBA.
I think it was like Jalen Duran, and Jordan Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan Hall, they was them two. Right now, they're currently in the NBA, but
Okay.
they playing a lot of good players playing in the league. Shoot, at the highest levels right now, and that's kind of like what we aim for. I wanted to motivate other players to let these players are playing in this league, and my league is invitational only. And you don't have to be the best or the best skill, but you definitely have to be committed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it just, I just want that. I just want kids to be motivated. I don't want, we had kids before that, they'd come in the DM and be like, man, you made a mistake. I'm not on the list. And, you hear it all, like, from, like, even threats, young boy threats. I'm like, what? I'm like, bro, you know who you're talking to? I'm like, do you know who I am? Like, are you crazy? But, hey, I'm like, but it's just like, I get it because you're young, and I want this to motivate you. I don't want it to discourage you, if you don't see your name on the list. And I tell players all the time, we have a waiting list, but they don't want to hear the waiting list. They like, nah. I mean, no player does. Like, no player does. But I just want it to be, as far as, like, I want you to know that you just got to keep working. You know what I mean? It's not like where you at now. Is you got to always keep working, man.
So the way you kind of like, so it's because it's a business. Let me say this right. Because it's a business, you get paid to do it. Blah blah blah. You're doing a service. So is it kind of like when you're working? Is it kind of like you're trying to be a coach to them, trying to be like a big brother to them, a little bit of both? Because and the reason why I'm asking this question is because like let's use Darryl Brown. I don't know if you remember him from high school. That was one of my most influential coaches ever, just because of his approach.
Yeah.
But I think if his approach really wasn't a coach to me. So he got more out of me because he was like just like ruthless with his approach with me. Because like being a coach wouldn't have worked. Does that make sense so far? So with your approach with these kids, because clearly what you're doing is working.
Yeah.
Clearly they keep coming back. You have testimonials on top of testimonials,
right.
And your league has sustained 3 years of business and past, which means like you're at the point where you figured it out. You're going and you're going. So are you more like a coach to these people, a father figure, a friend? Because I don't know the demographics of the people that you actually like service.
No,
but some of them might not have fathers in their life. That's a thing. You know what I mean?
So more just like I do take on that big brother role. You know what I mean? And mentor. I'm never gonna lie to these kids. I ain't gonna lie to nobody about nothing. I'm gonna only keep it real with you. The world is just, you know how the world is, and We just don't need that. I need somebody to really tell y'all the truth. You know what I mean? What it is. And a lot of players just think that you're just going to get by off of just doing the bare minimum. And that's not how the world works. You know, you got to always want to go the extra mile. You always got to want to put the extra work in. That's just how it is. You know, I'm just going to always tell them the truth, man. You know what I mean? It's a lot of, I keep it real with the parents too. You know, a lot of parents, some of them, I mean, they want to, you know, they want to keep them in that bubble. They want to keep them in that bubble, but that's not the world, man. You can't protect your baby, or you can't protect your baby their whole life. You can't do that. And as a parent, you gotta keep it real with them. You know what I mean? You can't give them this type of like false hope. You know, like, nah, you gotta work for everything. It's easy for us, right, to everything that we doing and everything that we building. Of course, we're doing it because it's a passion of ours, but at the same time, we want the best for our kids, right? We want the best for them, but some of us forget that it's like, you know, like, it's like, dang, I could never just go to the store and get that easy. Like, I had to earn that.
You got work.
You know what I mean? I had to earn that, and sometimes my mom and dad didn't have it, so it was no way that I was going to, you know what I mean? I was going to get that. Like, that was a Christmas present, if anything. And now these kids are receiving stuff it's not even Christmas presents. This is like regular. This is just regular.
That's the world.
Like, I'm just giving you this. You know what I mean? Like, hey man, just good report card. You know what I mean? It's like, dang, like.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, like, it's just, so it's like, it's stuff like that, man. It's like, you know, if people can actually translate of what I'm saying, but yeah, it's, you know, it's.
So, question. Let's go back to you saying change the location, right? So, what hiccups or just to speak on your resiliency, one, and just for somebody who probably just was like, oh, well, he was all right. Did you find, like, did you have issues in switching, and did you have issues with, like, people still committing, parents still committing? Because I remember the outside place. I remember when you started out on North Side.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I went to 3 games that year. It was packed. I mean, packed. So changing location, because you did mention the energy, something about energy, and the energy wasn't the same. Did you have issues getting people to still continue to come once you change location?
Nah. So season 2 was the only time where it was like outside of the city, and that's where I was speaking about, like, the energy kind of changed, because it wasn't that crowd. Everyone, I guess, wasn't, you know, willing to, like, go out that way, which it wasn't that far to me. So it was still a pretty good crowd out there, but it wasn't the crowd that we're used to. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it was like, I just had to move that. I just had to, like, really move it back, man. Like, because I know that's, you know, like, how I love that energy. Like, kids are feeding off of that. And that's what they want. That's what they want to play. They want to play in front of them crowds. You know what I mean? It's in Czech Rock League, bro. It's, you know, you guys know, it's way different too. I involve a lot of, which you know, we'll get into, but I involve a lot of local sponsors, people within the community, because they can relate. You know what I mean? They can relate to these kids, and these kids can see potentially what they can do, or what they'll be able to do after basketball. If it doesn't, you know what I mean, if it doesn't work out. That's part of my reason of, like, building what I'm building, you know. But yeah, like, I just had to bring it back in the city, though. Like, the energy had changed. Like, as far as, like, hiccups, I didn't have too many hiccups, because I was always, I'm strategic, so I always got a plan. I always plan things out. Even when I got to present them plans to whatever directors or whoever I may have to, you know, present it to. But I make sure that I adjust. You know, if you got something going on, this, like how you were saying, you and Charlie had to be out of, you know what I mean, at a certain time, y'all planned that, and you adjusted, you know what I mean? So that's just something I'm, like, real great at. And like I said, it's for the kids, so it's not nothing. It's not going to stop me if it's for them.
How was your support? Because, I mean, you could have started off day one and got support, because it's basketball. You could have got support, like, immediately, or it could have took some time. So how was your support? with starting your league and getting it going and keeping it going?
It's funny you say that because even just like the support, I feel like once people see like what's going on, and it's hard to say. Like I never really thought about like this, like the look of the support. Mm-hmm. I would say, I don't know, like the support has always been there, I guess, with the brand. And I do more than just run a league. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, but you got a lot of people within the basketball community. So,
basketball's big. It's big.
Nah, it is. It's like, big. It's real. It's real big.
So you said you do more than just the league. So speak on that. What more do you do outside of your league?
As far as training and running different programs, I'm building different programs. I got a breakfast club, which is a lot of is real regular. A lot of people out there, they say breakfast club, but one thing that we mean behind that is it's early work. Mm-hmm. So you're like working like a pro. You know what I mean? You got to have a real routine, a real regimen. I say this all the time, or you're just lost, man. You're just lost, and you're just working without purpose at this point. You don't really have a craft that you're sticking to, and you're just all over the place. So you kind of want to train. You kind of want to train your mind. You kind of want to train your body to be on that type time. But that's like programming. And then I have, of course, I train players as well. So I train a lot of players in state. I train a lot of players out of state, and showcases, tournaments. I just want to bring that platform for like even some of the kids that might not be getting any looks. Right. You know what I mean? Being overlooked, or they feel like they're not really getting that. They just not really getting that recognition. But that's kind of like some of the stuff that I do. You know what I mean? Continue to build on it.
I'll ask this. I'll say this because I don't want you to say it because somebody might think that you're talking about them. A kid that's not good. Not saying that you. I know he talking. No,
I'll speak on it.
But a kid that's not good and also not giving effort. What do you say to them, or what do you do to them? Because like there might be a parent that sees this like, I want to put my kid in check rock. Like I want to start my kid now. And they don't understand, like, you mean business. So you know where I'm going with this.
I came across too many of them.
I can't coach. I can't coach. I tried it.
Right.
I'm going to tell you why I can't coach. I don't want to talk about how good I think I was or any of that, because that really is not important.
Yeah.
But I will say my effort was what it was. Like, I had goals. Like, so my freshman year, I had goals. My sophomore year, I had goals. My senior year, I had goals. Like junior year, like each year, I had goals.
Yep.
So I worked towards my goals. Now, if I didn't accomplish my goals, I can only blame myself.
Yep.
But I can at least say, okay, this was my goal. Did I make it? So I can speak to my junior year. My goal was to go first team All-State, have the most tackles in the sack. Have more tackles than anybody, have more sacks than anybody. Whether I accomplished that or not, because I really didn't keep my stats, I did go first team All-State, and people knew who I was.
Yep.
So like in my mind was like, I worked towards this. I worked out, I ran, I did this, I did that. I can't coach because I can't find people that are willing to do the sacrificial things that I did. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's why I say I can't coach.
We took it a little bit more serious, and it's a few today that do take it that serious. I don't, I'm not going to downplay that fact. I don't really like, everybody say, well, back in the day,
no one cares.
I don't do that. I don't do that.
No one cares.
Yeah, no one cares. But I've had talks with plenty of them kids, man. I've had talks with plenty of them parents. And it's like I just said, you need a real routine, a real regimen.
Yeah, structure.
You know what I mean? Real structure. Mm-hmm. And it's like parents make excuses for their kids.
Yeah.
Too many excuses for their kids. Where it's like, we don't relate on that. Yeah. I can't, you're saying like, oh yeah, he had a player had practice. I tell him like, practice, okay, like, I mean, that's cool. Like, I mean, after practice, I can tell you right now, after practice, we was going right to the pal.
Yeah, ball again.
Like how?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like we was going right to the pal. Like tired.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you too young.
I don't know what that is. So it's like, this is what I mean by parents making so many excuses for their kids. It's like, you really don't want your kid to be great. And I mean, and that's cool. And that's cool. If you want to do the bare minimum, they want to do a bare minimum, that's cool. That's absolutely fine. Just don't do the bare minimum with me.
Yeah.
It ain't happening.
Bring me that effort.
Because they ain't ready. They not ready. I'm, like, the players that I'm currently working with, all of them want it. And when I say they want it, they want to take it to another level.
That's good.
It's not a player that's like, if they're playing around, they're BSing, and they not coming in doing what they need to be doing, and they not working how they need to be working, I'm going to have that talk with your parent. I'm going to have that talk with your mom. I'm going to have that talk with your dad. And I'm going to let them know.
Yeah.
Don't waste my time, but I'm going to tell them too, like, they wasting your time.
Yeah.
And if you notice, I don't understand why you're putting up with it, but it can't go on.
Yeah.
It won't go on with me.
This ain't no babysitting.
Yeah, it won't go on with me.
This ain't babysitting. He not here. I'm not here to watch your son for an hour.
It won't go on with me.
Well, I'll get you. So let's talk about where you currently train out right now.
The Chase Field House.
How'd you get to that point?
Crazy, right? So, broke ground at they broke ground August 2018. It was up at January 22nd, I believe. It was up before then, but January 22nd, 2019. That's when I started operating out there. Mm-hmm. I was one of the lead trainers, along with Trevor Cooney, another all-state player that was here, state champion. Played in 2 Final Fours, went to Syracuse, but he was one of the top players in the country. He's from Delaware, good friend of mine, and I've trained Trev his junior and senior year, but his junior year going into his senior year at Syracuse. We linked up, and I used to train him out Sanford. Mm-hmm. But I guess he was approached at that point when he was done playing from overseas a little bit. He was done playing overseas, and he just got done playing in a G League, which, at that time it was the D League, I believe they called it, but now it's the G League. Mm-hmm. And he was, he was getting an opportunity, getting a shot here to run some stuff within sports at the Chase Field House. He was approached on it, and he put me out there. He was like, shoot, I know somebody that really is into this as well as me, you know what I mean? And but really just, they brung me in. It wasn't even really an interview, you know what I mean? They seeked me out. They seen everything. They did their homework. They seen everything that I was doing within the community, and it was just it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. You know what I mean? It's a no-brainer.
So where do you see Check Rock going? Because I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to put a little bit of content behind it, because Check Rock is already its own thing, right? Yeah. So it operates with you. I'm sure it operates with you there better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's common sense. But Check Rock, I'm sure you've structured it to the point where if someone had to step in, it's still getting done.
It is. And I had to test that this summer.
Right.
I had to test that this summer. So
you getting old.
I have
it's no, I'm not.
I had to test that this summer. I had to. I was out Denver. I was out Denver for a while with Bones and Bones Highland. But I was out there, and I had my interns run the league for 2 days.
How'd that go?
It probably was some bumps. It probably was some bumps, but yeah, it probably was some bumps. But it definitely went well, especially approaching playoffs. Another time, I'll tell you, they only had to manage it one time, and I was down Texas, Waco, down Baylor University, and with my little cousin. my little cousin, my older cousin Rob. Rob Wright, he's committed to Baylor. Also, I train him too. I've been training for years, but we was on a visit down there for Rob, and they was running the league, and I know I got some calls. But it got done. They handle stuff the right way. Kids want to play all the time. So one of them being that one of the problems, one of the issues that they was calling me about was, well, you wouldn't be doing this if Marv was here, and they was just basically trying they already played one game, they was trying to play another game, like with another team, jersey and everything. So it's like, come on, man, that's not how leagues are ran. But and I get it, but they definitely, the interns, they handled it real good, and my interns this past summer, man, they was great. You know what I mean? So shout out to them, man. They really learned a lot. You know what I mean? They got a lot of experience. I'm bringing in more interns. I'm going through different interviews, and we get college kids from all over that want to go in the sports field. So yeah, I'm really excited for them.
That's what's up. And the reason why I asked you that is because growth, and the reason I see he's getting old, I was being sarcastic, but the older you get, the wiser you get. That's why I say he was getting old. So, and recently, my boy Will, I want to say Will, about a year ago, and I don't know if I should say this or not, but was saying you was looking for a space.
What Will? Or Will?
Croner, yeah. Will
Croner.
Yeah. Said you were looking for a space to, I don't want to say separate from Philhouse, because that wasn't the language he was telling me.
Everything's on I mean, you can say what you want. Everything's on the table. I mean, they know where I stand. I will always have that partnership.
Right.
You know what I mean? They know where I stand. Everything's on the table.
And that's why I say growth, because who's to say 3 years from now you ain't gonna have your own 5, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that's why I asked you, where do you see it going?
Oh
because
sooner than later, for sure.
Yeah.
Sooner than later. I just, I thought about jumping out there early, which I evaluate everything. Like I say, I'm strategic. You know what I mean? It's easily, I could have already had my own gym. You know what I mean? But I'm always thinking bigger. You know what I mean? So when it comes, it's definitely gonna be the right time. And I just, what I do, I just love what I do right now. And I'm not putting too much on my plate.
Right.
But you know what I mean? I'm just making sure the work is always effective. You know what I mean?
And I want to plug this in. I want people to hear this, right? Because it's funny. So you remember the feeling when you got fired?
Yeah.
Sure, it wasn't the best feeling ever.
No, hell no.
But now, Check Rock has took you from sitting on the couch in your mom's house, upset, till you've been to Waco. You said Waco, Texas, Denver, changed people's lives. All these things that would not have got done if you didn't get fired.
Exactly.
But people don't look at it from that perspective. They look at it from a perspective like it's going to be hard. Duh. And you know what I mean? I hate to say that, but duh. Anything worth having is hard. Like, I go through my ups and downs being an entrepreneur also, and people don't understand okay, yes, when you see me, I'm always smiling. Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm happy.
It's part of the grind. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why people, and one thing, I used to say this all the time, man, being an entrepreneur ain't for everybody. It's really not. They don't understand, even before, people, I heard somebody say that before. I think probably because, it wasn't. It wasn't before I was an entrepreneur. I heard it during, but I could just relate. And it's just like, bro, at the same time, man, this is either for you or it's not. You know what I mean? It's either for you, either you're not gonna. People think they want the craziest results, bro. They want the end result every time, but they don't see the type of work that you got put in.
To it.
They don't see it. You know what I mean? People constantly at that time. A couple of my guys would even just they talk about trips and stuff. I wasn't on no trips. I ain't care about no trips.
I still ain't been on one.
I ain't got time, bro. And people don't understand that, and that might separate some people away from me. But I'm cool with that. I'm not really tripping. Because I understand what I got to get done. I understand my goals. I understand my mission. You know what I mean? I don't care. what you care about, I don't care about. There are people like, man, you gotta give yourself a break. I take breaks.
What have you lost? Because there's going to, as much as, what's the best way to put it? As much as you might not realize the impact you're having with people. That makes sense so far? The impact you're having with people and your peers and people that might have been like, man, I ain't fooling with Mar no more, or blase, you know how that goes. What have you lost in your mind? Like peers? Like, matter of fact, I'm going to just answer the question straight. Have you lost any peers?
I lost friendships.
Wow. I said it because I always, because me and Will got to stay in the joke, man. Mark cool with everybody. Me and Will say that all the time.
Stop, man. Listen, I'm cordial. That's what everybody know. I'm cordial, man. I'm cordial, but I mean, like, I show everybody love, man. I show everybody love. I've never been like, I ain't never been no hater. I ain't never, you know what I mean? Even at my lowest, if I see somebody, you know what I mean? But it's crazy, and people don't understand. Like, I done been at the bottom of the bottom. Like, y'all know, I done been at the craziest bottom. You feel me? Like, that never had me down or anything. I can't even say at a point where I really felt like I was like depressed. I never went through like a depression state. In my mind, I don't think, maybe I have, but I don't think I have, because I always been like, I known what I want to do. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I mean, like, when you're a little bit, in cruise control, and you a little bit, you hear, you know what I mean, but then with everybody, and people start seeing you like elevated, you know what I mean, start elevating, and you doing this and you doing that, and you becoming more about your business, more about your work, more about your craft, and you ain't got time for certain stuff, more change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? More change.
Sure.
I'm the same man.
Because I ain't got time to sit around and do nothing with you.
I can't take trips. I don't want to do that type stuff.
It's called being locked in.
You know what I mean? It's just certain stuff, like, to the point where, and I'm pretty sure everybody know, but I could go to hell where I want. I could take a trip when I want to, but that's not what I'm on. I don't have to do that. I know what I need to be doing, so it's just like, and it is what it is. There ain't no love lost for nobody. But at the end of the day, man, like, if you really down for me, like I'm down for you, then you gonna understand. Like, you not going, them words not gonna come out your mouth talking about more change. You know what I mean? I ain't changed.
Because even when I first started, I went distance, and some people understood it, some people didn't. But it's like, if you really know me, if I ain't answering my phone, like my boy T-Mock said to me today, he said, man, I called you back. Said, if I ain't answering my phone, it ain't personal. I just, sometimes, man, you might have caught me at the worst time. I might have been, I don't know what I could have been doing.
Right.
If I ain't call you back, it don't mean I dislike you. It just, like you just said, man, we locked in. And sometimes you don't lose friends because you want to lose friends, but you lose friends just because of the misunderstanding. But I can't wait to see where this is going to go, Mark. I really am excited. We both got a lot going on. I'm glad you took some time to come rap with me, because, like I always say to people, like, I don't know what year you in right now, but I know
it's like year 7.
Yeah, so year 7. I want to see what year 14 gonna look like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I really do.
For sure.
Keep doing what you're doing, brother. You got any last words you want to say to anybody? But keep doing what you're doing. I definitely want to.
I just, like, you know what I mean? Like, people don't know the history between we Wildcats, you feel me?
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I love to see everybody what everybody doing right now, and I love to see, like, the dots connecting, you feel me? Like, y'all family to me, you feel me? So I love it, you know what I mean? Yeah. I appreciate y'all for, like, bringing me on, man. Like, bringing me on here for real.
Who would have thought, right? I'm gonna shut up at this. Joker with a 1.69 graduate. I graduated with 1.6. Now I don't know what Mark graduated with, but actually doing things that are impacting other people's lives. That's powerful. That's more powerful to me than anything I can tell you on my resume. Is actually having people say, man, look, you helped me do this.
No, most
and
definitely.
if I can do anything in life, my biggest 2 things is to help people and encourage people to do better with their money.
Yes.
So appreciate you coming, Mark.
I appreciate you.
All right, brother.